what would you say when we're trying to find a balance in someone's character? Yeah, because sometimes some people are, let's say, like, the trending word like toxic. Someone's just toxic, and you're just like, is it, not speaking about their name, but like, you're like, you know what? I've done my best to see them in the best light I possibly can. Is that the point where you're like, I'm just going to refrain from our friend Mike?
So here's the balance is such a thing, right? It's totally important. So if Mike is toxic, and I walk into a situation where people are like, dude, Mike is so toxic, bro. He's so bitter. I'm just gonna listen, man, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, man, he's interesting. So what can you say, by the way? So what kind of narrative can you use to not repress, to let it out, but in a way that you're also planting a seed that he could change, right? It's a big difference between somebody's toxic as instead of saying like, he's interesting. Like you could soften that narrative, but guess what? Interesting is a lot less toxic than toxic, and therefore you're leaving room for the possibility that he can start showing up differently. And I always say, like, listen, you could have like you could be broke essentially, right? And I'm not saying you need to look at your bank account and be like, oh my God, I have so much money, I'm rich. No, because that's not true. You don't have integrity with that. But you don't have to call all your friends and tell them you're broke either. You see what I'm saying? So it's like I can generally not like Mike and think like, you know what, he's not my vibe. But why do I need to go around telling anybody about it? Yeah, because here's the thing, the minute you call something out, it's like a two-step process. Remember, you're the observer. You see a behavior, you call it out mentally, but the minute you express it out, you're cementing it.
Yeah, you're almost creating like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
You're creating that, right? You're literally putting like energy behind it. So now he has to show up that way because you said it, and now you're involving other people with it. Now, going back to what you said about the telling one person, again, it's not about repression; it's mindfulness, right? So I had an issue with a friend a few months ago, and we stopped being friends. And she was like, she had really good reasons why, by the way. And I couldn't say anything. I was just like, wow, I think you're right. And at first I was like, okay, I don't want to put it out there. It's done. But then I was like, you know what? No, I don't want to repress this. I'm going to phone my friend. And I called 4 people and I'm like, whoever calls me back, I'm going to tell them the story. I'm going to tell them how I feel. Finally, boom, somebody called me back and I said it. And Miguel was so powerful. I said, okay, so I wrote this book and then I told him, you're the only person I'm going to tell this to, okay? And immediately, dude, the listening that person had for me was next level. Because now they're like, I'm the one. I'm not like, I just ordained them. So then I told her the story, bro. And she gave me the best advice and feedback. And I cried. And actually, it bonded us, And I didn't tell the story to trash that other girl. I just told her the story of like how I felt, And whenever I would see her like saying things, oh, but she's this, I would just not add to that. Because, right, you want to be so mindful now. And at the end, dried my tears and I felt amazing. And then my other 3 friends called me and I was like, no, good, I'm good. I only tell one person. They're like, are you sure? I'm like, 100%. I'm done, but thank you. And then it made me think of like how powerful it is that we're always teaching something, right? It made me think of how awesome that I'm actually putting that behavior out there for people to keep in mind. Maybe I could just tell one person.
Yeah.
And not 10 or 15.
And I really like that because you're right. It does create someone, not only for them to feel a little more special, but it does give them like an incentive of like, oh shit, like I better pay attention. It's like an honor.
Yeah, it is an honor. I mean, to really let your feelings to somebody and for them to know that you're the one creates a really powerful listening,
And as well, it also limits at least in the book when I was reading it, it limits that continuous rumination on our problems when we tell Joe, Susie, and Sally. We just keep repeating and entrenching the same neurological pathways, right? And that's another reason for that.
Yeah, it is another reason for that because imagine you're limiting that addiction to one. You're letting it. You have to remember I really do believe we're all emotional addicts to our lives, right? So what do I mean by that? So we energetically create situations with others because we're coexisting to bring us the feelings that we're used to. So if your thing is like you go nuts on the 4 or 5 when you get cut off, like you're addicted to that cortisol that your body makes, that hit of adrenaline that goes to your body, right? So the more that you keep engaging in that behavior, even after you're not in traffic, after 2 hours pass, your body's like, hey, so where is it, bro? Where like, and all of a sudden the guy cuts you off again and you go back to it again.
Or you find the
And
opportunity.
you find the opportunity, and you have to remember the brain, the body doesn't know the difference between something that happened in the past or something that's happening now again. So as we keep retelling those stories of frustration, your body's just like, boom, receiving that shot all over again. So we have to, little by little, just detox the body from the addictions that we have to our lives, to how we feel about our lives.